Hey guys, welcome to my video where we're going to break down 9 steps for achieving mastery faster E. Oh no! Jeez. Alright, so step 1 for achieving mastery faster E is going to be to learn from those who came before you. The masters who came before, I'm talking mostly about like YouTube, use a little bit of Reddit. If you actually have friends that are playing this game, talk to them. Try to figure out what's worked well and how people got better. It made a huge difference in my skill improvement in the game, and I'm still using it now. I haven't quite gotten the platinum yet, but I am definitely hoping to and might try to finish that this weekend. I want to say thanks to a couple of the people that were really helpful for me. Unbroken Odds, Strife Tech, Under the Mayo, Gamer Ranks, Fuzzy Barbarian, Eric's Gaming is also in there. All some really helpful stuff, talking about like just how to build the character, what moves, everything up and down. Alright, and on to the next one. So, number 2. Step number 2 here starts with the art of dying well. So this game, I've talked about this a little bit in some other videos, but there's a huge emphasis in Sifu about learning to die well. Take your time, learn the moves, learn the enemies. It is far better to be patient and practice getting to know what's coming at you slowly than it is to try to rush through and button mash. Button mashing, as I've said before also, like this game is about patience and punishment. If you are not patient, you will get punished. If you can be patient, you have and find opportunities to deal punishment. So take that time, play the levels through many, many times. I've probably been through the tower, I don't know, 10, 15 times, something like that. But every time I go through, I do it a little bit differently. I learn something new. And the last time I watched it, for instance, I learned that of these first 3 guys, you can totally take out the first dude on the right on the first strike because it'll be a surprise to him, puts his structure all the way down or maxed out, and then it makes the fight with the remaining 3 a lot easier because he is definitely the toughest of the ones in here. So I'll do that now and cut it if I get my my ass whomped too bad.
She's waiting.
Ooh yeah. Oh, ow. Drop him. There we go. Not too shabby, but could have been pulled off a little smoother. So on to step 3. So step 3 is all about the skill tree. So yeah, you really got to build your skill tree for your style. Looking at the skills that we have on the screen right now, you can see right now this is my kind of like longest running game or best game. I'm still 22, working on the tower. I'm about halfway through the level right now. But figured I'd pull up this menu and look through it here. I'm really not, as a lot of people probably know by the time you've gotten into this game, and with it having been out a little while, focus attacks are nice. They give you a chance to pause time effectively, or like give you like the bullet time equivalent. But I'm just not a big fan of the focus attacks. I try to rely on kind of the overall timing, being able to predict the enemy, just because you don't always have focus. So using it as well is something I could definitely improve on. So 360 swing focus, pretty low on my list. Costs 2 full bars, and it says it's a 360, but I really don't think it hits 360. It's more like 180, maybe 270 at best. So yeah, not a huge fan. Strong sweep, I actually don't use the strong sweep very much. It only costs 1 bar, but you can pretty much always land a regular sweep after an eye poke, so there's not much point in using the strong sweep. Snap kick, it's okay. This can actually be used to jump over low attacks, which is probably the most unknown feature of that one, so that's pretty cool. Spin hook kick, I have a hard time timing this well and landing it, but it is great because it really knocks people down, and anything that puts enemies on the floor or can like break a light guard is a huge plus for crowd control. Charge back fist, probably the most important or most popular one of this top set. It does give you a very strong strike to start things out, puts a brief stun on, and gives you an opportunity to throw or do something else to take advantage of an opening on the enemy. Face smash focus, dazes knocks him back, again 2 bars, hardly use it. I've very rarely gotten, I've actually kind of messed up, I think this run, I honestly should have gotten my focus bars earlier in the club, and then not put so much on my parry impact. I was actually messing around when I got there, and I feel like I could do much better with a different build more suited to my style, but we'll talk about those things in another piece here. So let's see, where we face smash focus. Weapon catch, super helpful, especially in the third boss. I won't say much more than that, but it's also really helpful in the first and second level too, being able to catch bottles thrown at you, because they are the fastest way to take your structure from all the way up to 0. Getting hit in the back of the head with one anyway. Pushback cancel, I think is a good one. I don't notice or really use it. Ultimately, you should avoid block, or you should be blocking, parrying, or avoiding those attacks anyway, and if you don't get hit, you don't have to worry about recovering from a pushback. Ground counter is pretty similar. This one just says L1 on timing while knocked down. I haven't landed it very often. I feel like I'm just sitting there waiting for an enemy to attack on the ground most of the time. Environmental mastery is probably the most important and first one I'd get out of the whole tree, just because it lets you knock any weapon up off the ground and toss it at somebody. It's super helpful, and also lets you like throw bottles and stuff like that, like while you're holding a baseball bat or a sword. So big helpful, and I can't remember, I don't think it's terribly expensive. Double palm, another 2 bar, knocks people back for sure, but you can usually knock people back with, like, I don't know, an eye poke and a push strike, or there's just plenty of other ways to accidentally knock people back that seem to work just fine. Flowing claw, we've actually just recently learned that there's an iframe as he strikes with the flowing claw, which is really nice, so some people have been using it to really abuse the bosses. I'm nowhere near that good, but it's super cool to watch. Chasing strikes is definitely a very helpful one, lets you put a lot of damage, and I think it should do a decent amount of structure, because they're mostly light strikes on a pushed enemy. Crooked foot after a parry, this one I found is a very powerful one, especially through the later stages of the game, because it gives you a guaranteed knockdown and heavy strike, then knockdown, and opportunity for a ground pound on any enemy you can parry, which is pretty much anyone, and you can do it with bat or staff weapons as well. So you kind of always got that opportunity. I guess you can't quite do the crooked foot with a sword, maybe. You know, and not with a bottle you would just throw it, but really super powerful weapon. Big for bosses as well, especially if you can catch a parry on them. Duck strike, probably one of my favorites. This is a very strong strike that goes relatively quickly and dodges an incoming attack up high when it comes in. So hugely valuable for both dealing damage and avoiding getting hit. You can combine the duck strike with that snap kick together to basically duck and jump almost any attack from the enemy if you time it well. It's not quite as easy as just hitting the block button in a direction, but it can pay off for sure. Vertical strikes, this is a very strong 2-bar focus strike on someone. It's probably my favorite of all of them because it can very well be comboed with raining strikes or lightning strikes, I think. Invert throw I mostly only use on accident and is best if you get yourself caught in a janky camera spot. I'm terrible at remembering to use it. Hook intercept, another decent one that's good for avoiding incoming attacks. It does do some damage to your structure because it's blocking while it strikes, but this thing can be used over and over and usually hammer through a lot of people's structure. Can't be used super effectively in large groups because you just get beat down, but it's not a bad move, and again gives you some block while you get to strike. Chasing trip kick, really on these following or chasing strikes are really my weak ones just because I'm bad at timing them. I feel like they're the only move in the game that requires very quick timing after you do the parry for it to be pulled off correctly. I would also note that on this one, you may notice as you're looking at the little image there, he knocks them down just a little bit further away. I have found I normally have to dash to them after I knock them down to be able to do the ground and pound after this one, which makes the parry a little bit more effective. Crotch Punch, another one that lets you get low, may give you a little bit of stun, and gets under him. I haven't found this one as effective as the Duck Strike. To me, the Duck Strike seems to, I don't know, like you see in that one, almost like knock the wind out of him more, where the Crotch Punch is a, low stomach kind of strike. Thigh cut focus, I truly only got this one just to get the achievement. I see no point in using it and never get to 3 focus bars. I mean, I guess it's kind of fun if you're really just trying to do a focus heavy spam build, but not my cup of tea. Raining Strike's another top contender for probably one of the most powerful moves in the game. To combo, it deals solid heavy damage, structure damage. Slide Kick, easiest way to trip people, even easier than probably the regular sweep. Huge fan of this one, and also great for getting yourself into fights and really closing that distance quickly and getting the opponent on the ground. Sometimes it even works on a couple of the bigger enemies if they're not expecting you. Weapon Mastery is a huge plus, lets you keep using mostly broken weapons. This is also another one that pairs really well with your skill tree build, so you can go kind of weapon heavy or weapon less builds, if you will. They're always going to be around, but changes the impact you get from them. And finally, the kind of hidden Easter egg item that ties out or references to Absolver Slow Clap's 2016 game. This one's just hilarious. It gives a fake strike and then swats him on the back of the head. But it does instantly bring you up to a 5x multiplier on your score. So if you're starting at a level, using the Calbot focus, it can be a pretty sweet move. So there we are, quick synopsis, snapshot, summary, what have you, on build your skill tree for your style. So that's tip number 3 in Mastery Fastery. Now let's look at number 4. Alright, so actually guys, that wasn't totally right. I realize the video is already over 10 minutes now, so I'm going to cut it here. There's going to be steps 1 through 3 of Mastery Fastery, and I will do 4 through 6 and 7 through 9 as my next videos. That way they don't run to be too terribly long, so keep them, somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. So if you've liked it, please like, subscribe. Thank you so much for joining. Again, I am Bo the Potato, Bodacious11. And please like, comment, subscribe, or do whatever you do, and hope to see you in the world of Sifu.